morning. My name is Michelle Ledbetter, and this is my second time here at Unity, and I want to thank you very much for inviting me back. If you were here the first time, you know I was super, super nervous, and now I'm just super nervous. So we're improving. I absolutely love when you can't make it up. The music is so divine for the message that I have for everyone today. And I grew up in a Baptist and then Catholic upbringing, and the God that I was taught to praise was very much outside of me. And it was a God, a fearing God that we were supposed to fear. So when I went into my altered reality in this near-death experience that I had no clue that I was actually connected to that divine. And I have uncovered since then that we are all divinely connected to the life source energy that created us. There's absolutely no way we can be separate from it. It's impossible. And so when I started to recognize that, things started to clear up for me. In this morning's meditation, I'm going to use some technology, and I'm a little tech challenged, so bear with me as I go through this. But the meditation is going to probably be about 5, maybe even up to 10 minutes, because I really want people to get grounded in the God essence within, okay? So let's get started. So the title of this today is Life is going to Show You Where You Are Not Free. And are you listening? Right? Are you listening? I hope to help everyone here feel connected to the divine presence that's within. I hope to help show that triggers will show us where we're not aligned in life when we have those triggers. That's actually, I feel, the God essence that is within us, kind of winking at us, saying, you're out of alignment here. That's just a blink. And then the embodied awareness of listening to how our body will tell us when we're out of alignment, and then living from connection. So let's go ahead and get started, if you will. When I had that near-death experience, and I believed I was in hell as I was going through my life review, one of the greatest things that I recognized is that it was the separation from the divine that was holding me back. We're going to begin by grounding. So sit comfortably in your chair, feet flat on the floor, spine tall, but be relaxed, hands resting. And if you feel safe enough, go ahead and close your eyes. Take a slow, deep breath in. And when you breathe out, make it a little bit longer than your inhalation. So again, breathe in. And then exhale. Let your breath return to normal. And notice your breath. Just notice your breath. In this moment, you are being breathed. You are not forcing your lungs to expand. You are not manually beating your heart. Life is happening through you. Scriptures tell us that in Him we live and move and have our being. Acts 17:28. Let that sink in. In Him we live and move and have our being. You live in the divine, you move in the divine, you exist within the divine. There is no edge where you stop and God begins. Now I want you to gently set down your roles. Your mother role, your father role, your nurse role, your caretaker role, your leader role. Set them all beside you and ask yourself, who am I without my role? Without my achievements, without my failures? Just awareness, just presence. Now, I want you to imagine yourself as a child before you were labeled, before you were compared, before someone told you who you were. I want you to see that child and notice the aliveness there, the innocence, the openness. Now I want you to imagine a thread of light connecting that innocent, divine, spiritual being, you. That thread of light is divinely connected to you and life force energy. And that thread has never been broken. Even when you felt shame, even when you felt rejected, even when you believed you were separate, the thread never broke. Separation was never a reality. We only believed it was. Genesis says we are created in God's image, not as distant creations. We are divine, spiritual, energetic beings having a human experience. We are, indeed, a direct expression of life force energy. I want you to breathe in that truth. Notice the stillness underneath your thoughts, the awareness watching your mind right now. That awareness is not separate from the divine. There is nothing to fix in this moment, nothing to earn, nothing to prove, just being. You are divine, spiritual beings having a human experience. When you are ready, gently open your eyes. Welcome back. I truly believe that separation is the root wound of humanity. The belief that I am alone, I am cut off, I'm not enough. Any of those sound familiar? Yeah. In my near-death experience, the most painful part was not my physical pain, actually. It was the perception that I was disconnected from God and love itself. That perception felt like torment, but perception is not truth. Scripture tells us, so God created mankind in his own image. That's Genesis 1:27. And nothing in all creation will be able to separate us from the love of God. Nothing in all creation will be able to separate us from the love of God. That's Romans 8:38-39. Yet we live as if we are separate, and that belief drives fear. It drives control, it drives comparison, it drives the need to prove. For over 20-some years, I have worked in hospice. I have sat with hundreds of people at the end of life, and something profound happens there. The illusion begins to unravel. Something gently happens when people start to lose the labels that they claim during this lifetime. Sometimes it's gentle, sometimes it's not. Sometimes it looks like what we call terminal agitation, a restlessness, visiting old memories, calling out names from decades ago. And families will often ask me what's happening, because it can be quite scary when you see somebody in that space. And here's what I've witnessed. When consciousness begins to review, regrets will sometimes rise. Where we were misaligned, those things will come to the surface so that they can be looked at from a different perspective, through the eyes of love. Unspoken apologies will surface, old identities start to loosen. And I remember one man in particular. He was very, very restless at the end of life. And of course, we have medications that can help with that. But before my experience, I didn't really understand terminal agitation. But since my experience, I am almost sure that what is happening in those moments as we are going through our life review, where we were misaligned, we are going to see that. And we are going to be given an opportunity to look at it differently. through the lens of love, through the divine essence of who we are. You can find people apologizing to people who aren't physically in the room or replaying moments from 40 years earlier. This particular gentleman, his family thought that he was suffering as he was moving through this undoing, is what I call it. But what I saw was something different. I saw life being reconciled, where something shifts, and he became very still, and his breath softened, and his eyes opened, and he said very clearly, "Everything's okay now." And the room changed. The energy in the room changed. You could feel it. It was as if the struggle to maintain separation had stopped, and he found his unity. And I've seen this over and over and over. When fear releases, peace appears, almost as if the soul remembers, I was never separate. But guess what? We don't have to wait till the end of life to do our life review, right? We can do that now. So I recently had a grandson, my 5th grandbaby. He's just a month old. And his name is Wyatt. When I first got a hold of that little guy and I was looking at him, there was the innocence and the divinity so bright, so beautiful. He's looking back at me. He's not evaluating me. He's not measuring me. No comparing. He doesn't wonder if he belongs. He doesn't question his worth. He simply is. When I hold him, I see what we were before our conditioning. It's so obvious when you look into an infant's eyes. Before fear, there is no separation. He doesn't know this yet. And that consciousness is still in us. It does not disappear. That divine essence that you see in the first few weeks of life before any conditioning takes place, it's still in each and every one of us. It doesn't go anywhere. It just gets covered over, and we lose connection with it. But it's there. It gets covered up by life experiences, by the labels, by moments of misunderstanding. But the original connection is always there. Wyatt reminds me that alignment is not something we create. It is something we return to. You don't have to wait for hospice and a life review to get there, though. Life will give this to you daily through triggers. Yeah? I had a moment recently where somebody was describing somebody else and used the word weird. And I lit up. I lit up because I felt it instantly in my body. My body started to tighten. Not that they were even talking about me, but it was something that I carried around with me, being weird. Now, if a stranger had come up to me and said, "You are weird," I would have said, "Great, I don't know you, that doesn't matter." But when someone you love, someone you care about, someone you have a connection with, says that you're weird, you definitely don't see the divinity in yourself in that moment, and you can own it. And I carried a label of weird, not even consciously knowing it, and when I heard it, I could physically feel God's wink, but it was uncomfortable. The feeling was uncomfortable, so I didn't make the association that this is actually the divine within asking me to look at it from a different perspective. Am I weird? I am. I am unique. I am doing an individuated version of life through this form, and I don't do it like everyone else. So weird, when I sat with it for a minute and I brought the light to it, became a badge of honor. I am so freaking weird. And I can say that today and not feel icky. But the triggers that we feel when somebody says something to us, or when we're in the presence of somebody that might remind us of a parent that wasn't nice, or life situations that show up and you start to feel the unease, when that happens, as you go into your week, I want you to consider that's actually God winking at you and saying, Can we look at this from a different perspective? Because the way you're looking at it right now is causing division. And that's not who you are. And you can do it with every single trigger you have. Life is working for you, not against you. It will bring you people and situations to show you where you're not free yet, where you still hold on to labels that aren't truth. So it's time to go ahead and evaluate those now while you're healthy and doing the journey, and start listening to life as it talks to you through those triggers. So how do we grow? We grow through contrast, right? We don't grow when we're comfortable. We have to be stretched out of our comfort zone to move up to the next level. We can sit in one place and not get uncomfortable, not stretch ourselves, not get up on stage and speak to beautiful people, right? But it's only in doing those things that we actually grow. And in my near-death experience, that was extreme contrast. In that state, I saw the wounded child inside the people who had hurt me, but I also saw their innocence for the first time. And that gave me complete freedom. Where I had carried that weight and that dense energy from being abused as a child, I was able to see it from a different perspective and release it. And honestly, I didn't even know that it was still in there. I honestly didn't know it was in there until I had to do this life review. So do your life review now. When we believe that we are cut off from love, we act from fear. When we believe we are cut off from love, we act from fear. And we are either acting from fear or we are coming from love. There's really only two places that we're coming from when we're engaging, right? And our body will tell us where we are. If we're calm and comfortable, we're in alignment. When we're judgmental of self or others, we're out of alignment, and your body will tell you. You were created in His image. You live and move and have your being in Him. Nothing can separate you. Life will show you where you are not free. And as Carl Jung says, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate. This is what triggers are. That is what contrast is. This is what agitation at the end of life often looks like. If we don't look at it now, it will run us. If we do not bring it into awareness, we will call it fate. But it is not fate. It is an invitation to awareness, an invitation to alignment, an invitation to remember who you were before fear told you otherwise. You do not have to wait until your final breath to reconcile with love. You can live that truth now. Life will show you where you are not free. The question is, will you bring it into the light? Thank you.
Light of God.